Hey guys, in today's video we're going to learn how to make this ombre wave cake. So I've got a 6-inch cake and I'm using Sugar Flare Turquoise, and I've taken a little bit of white and coloured it with just a little bit of the colour. We're going to start off with the lighter colour at the top and then work our way down to the bottom. I've put some on the top of the cake. This has been ganached, and then I'm just trimming off the excess, and then we're just going to smooth that out. Now the first wave that we're going to do is going to be the same colour as the top of the cake, so it kind of blends in nicely. You just want to tuck in your edges a little bit, and then you're going to roll out a sausage shape and just make sure that it's long enough to actually wrap around the cake so that you can put all of the wave in one sitting. You're going to roll it so that it's quite thin. You don't want it too thick, but you want it thick enough that it can sort of hold the little ripples that we're going to put in. And I've cut these to be around about an inch and a half in height. So depending on how tall your cake is and depending on how many you wanted to put in would obviously depend on how big you cut it and how many colours you then put in. So I'm just levelling off both of those, the bottom and the top, and then just rolling it out a little bit at the top just to make it a little bit thinner, and then re-trimming that off so it's nice and straight. And then we're going to just wet around the cake just ever so slightly, and then we're going to wrap it on. Now I'm working with Renshaw's Extra today, so it does hold itself quite well, and I didn't really get any breakage in or ripping or anything like that from it. So once you've trimmed off the back, you're going to end up with sort of like a join. I'm going to try and keep that join in the same place throughout the whole cake. You're just going to pull back some areas to sort of give a ruffle type look. So once you've got that colour on, we're then going to take a little bit more of the fondant and we're going to add some more of the turquoise into it. You don't want to add too much because we're not looking for a vast difference in the first go. But then we're going to cut kind of like a wavy section. So you can see there I'm just going up and down. We're going to remove that excess. Now when you wet the cake this time, you want to wet the cake and you want to wet the fondant that we've already put on just a little bit, just so that it sticks on. And then we're going to place that around the same method as before. And then just cutting it from the back, making sure that you've got the back joining. We're just going to trim the excess off, and then you're going to start to pull down the ripples again. And this is the process that we're going to work throughout the whole video, just with each different layer. And it's such a simple, quick way to sort of like create a wave effect on a cake. It didn't take me long whatsoever. So just pulling it down slightly, and then we're going to do our next layer. So again, I've added some more turquoise in there. Now be careful when you're cutting your dips like I've done on this one. I've taken it a little bit too low. You don't want it to come so low that you see the join at the bottom, you see that ridge, or you see some of the chocolate cake. So just be mindful that when you're doing that, not to go so low. So again, with a little bit of water, and this time when you place it on, you want your ruffle, your highest point, to be in the position of the lowest point on the one above it, if that makes sense, so that you're not putting your waves in the same place on each way round. And then just pulling some of the pieces down again. Now I chose to finish this off with some sort of like white bits of fondant and the sort of like little sprinkles in different colours. There was like white and a pearlescent one. and I just use those as like the bubbles coming up from the sea. And there's a number of ways you could finish this, the cake. So again, just getting a little bit darker again and cutting the wave, taking away the excess and sticking it on. This just looks really, really pretty. You could use this for wedding cakes or any type of underwater cake. So just pulling it down again, trying to get the kind of like, I guess, wave effect that's coming on. Just trying to get that at different points throughout the cake to give it a little bit of movement. And then finally with the darkest layer, you want to make sure that you cut it so it's thin enough that it doesn't take over the last layer that we just put on. And it wants to sit on the board flush. So again, just wrapping that around. And now that you've got all the colours together, you can really see the difference between the top layer and the bottom layer. It's such a gradual change. So just pulling the ruffles down, and then it's up to you, because it's an undersea kind of design. You could finish it off with a different coloured bottom if you wanted. You could do it with sort of like a honey gold type colour and put some sand on there. I chose to do this one blue because I had a name to put on it and I wanted the name to really stand out. And so just trim off the excess and make sure that you've got all the marks out of the board. And smooth off the sides of the board as well to make sure that there's nothing hanging over. And that's it for the wave tutorial. Here's the cake that I decided to put it on. Now I do have a tutorial for Ariel as well. I will put the link in the description box. And then here's the full cake. So I hope you've liked today's video. If you have, please leave a comment down below. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. And please hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with any of my future videos. Thank you.